Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of congregational humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. I'm David Breeden, Senior Minister. Welcome.
So exciting. I'm the Reverend Jim Fody. I'm one of the assistant ministers here, and it is my honor to welcome you again. You get welcomed by video, you get welcomed in person. This is multi-platform world, people. We are coming to you live for the first time in 16 months from the actual in-person human body embodied experience here. It's very exciting. Whether this is your first Sunday or if you've been part of FUS for a long time, we're very glad to have you as part of our gathered community, including our electronic audience who's out there as well. If you're watching online, you're invited to use the chat function during the service to connect with each other. And those here in person are welcome to join us after assembly. We're gonna have a little, social time out on the lawn because outdoors is best, right? We all know that. So, thank you all for distancing. You're all nicely spaced out, but you actually were doing that before. I remember actually. As you probably know, we are currently following what might be described as the airport rules. We're keeping our masks on inside, except to take sips of water and things like that. And those of us up front will be taking off our masks because we're pretty far away from you and we want to make sure the sound gets picked up for everybody to hear. So thanks to all of you for helping us create an environment that is safe and inclusive for as many people as possible. We are so grateful to our staff and our volunteers who have kept us together online these 16 months and who are making today's new production values, new lighting, new technology possible. It's been an amazing period, and this is the culmination of it, and we're so glad you're here. We are so grateful to be together, and forgot to mention, our assembly theme for July is Journey. And what a journey we have all been on since our last in-person Sunday. There is much to reflect on and to look forward to. Come, let us gather in community. That's right, it's time for the chalice lighting.
Okay, we got it. I light this chalice, remembering the First Unitarian Society aspiration to support one another's journey towards meaning and connection in the here and now.
Thank you, Justice. You can now please join me in reading our congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thanks.
The song that we will sing for you is Richard Strauss's Freundliche Vision. I wanted to sing this particular song in honor of Pride Weekend because of the line of the text that really says what I think every young queer person dreams of. And I walk with one who loves me, my heart at peace.
For
schlippert in den Frieden voll Schönheit.
Since our founding in 1881, members and friends' support of First Unitarian Society has been essential for our ongoing mission. Our Sunday assemblies, community celebrations, cultural enrichment, and work in social justice come to you with the hard work of our dedicated staff and volunteers. Your contributions will help assure the continuing work of First Unitarian Society. Give now at PayPal, the Give Plus app, or firstunitarian.org/donate. Thank you.
On Sundays when we gather, we take a few minutes to reflect on the joys, sorrows, and milestones of the human experience. We do this to stay in touch with our own humanity. We do this to remind ourselves of the value of a moment of stillness. And we do this so that no one among us is alone, either in celebrating joy or in facing the burdens of life. This morning, our thoughts are with FUS members Wayne Groff and Jim Dryden, as they mourn the death and celebrate the life of Wayne's mom, Opal. Opal died early Tuesday at the age of 97 after a few months in hospice, during which she was visited way up there in North Dakota by Jim and Wayne. Opal will be remembered as a tiny woman with a gigantic heart and a strong spirit. And at the end of July, her life will be celebrated with a garden party on the Groff farm in North Dakota. We send our love and support to Wayne and Jim in these days of remembrance. We now take a moment of silence to reflect on all the challenges and heartbreak going on in our lives and in our world. And with gratitude, we think of all those who are leading lives of justice, service, and compassion. Let us now share a moment of silence.
This is the second movement from the Mozart Clarinet Concerto. Mozart is very special to clarinetists because he's the first one who incorporated the clarinet in the orchestra and wrote solo stuff for us, which is sublimely beautiful.
Thanks so much. Wow. For how many of you is this the first time you've been in the building? And if I can, we're all behind masks here, so hey, okay, great. Glad you're all here. If you're visiting, we'll try to figure out who you are behind the mask, but feel free to ask Jim or I or just about anybody more about what's going on here. So it has been, as Jim mentioned, 16 months since this congregation gathered in this space. 16 long months of disease, plague, I guess we would say, death, political turmoil. Yet here we are, a gathered community called First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, and we've been gathered since 1881. We have followed, I hope, the advice of Winston Churchill, never let a good crisis go to waste. We've picked up some friends from all across the nation who can now join us by electronic means. Yay! With our unique message of Unitarian Universalist humanism. And of course, thanks to our amazing tech team, we have Justice Bovey back there, Jacob Mollis, Delaney Anderson, and we've got, Greg Mansfield, who built an entire electric board of some sort that I don't even understand to make all that work. So, pretty amazing. Bob Adderhold and Rebecca Chesson, and I could go on, but I would always leave somebody out. But thanks to everyone for all the contributions that you've made during this time and simply for sticking with us during this difficult time. In the 1917-18 shutdown with the Spanish flu, as it's not supposed to be called, we were only closed for 4 months at that time. So a lot shorter time to be closed. So, but here we are, and we are back. We Unitarian Universalist humanists gather to enjoy the good things about the human religious impulse, community, mutual support, friendship, common cause, even as we reject the bad things about human religious impulses, the dogma, the judgment, the hypocrisy, and the cliquishness. That's what I want to talk with you about today, the good things about our healing message to the world. Now, I want you to listen to the critique of a liberal religious Unitarian minister. Quote, "I felt early that the liberal ministers did not do justice to simple religious feeling. All their preaching seemed to relate too much to outward things, not enough to the inward pious life, most powerfully preaching to the understanding, the conscience, and the will. The cry was ever, 'Duty, duty, work, work.' They failed to address with equal power the soul and did not once shout, 'Joy, joy,' or 'Delight, delight.'" No, those words were not written in the comments section from the last General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Those are the words from the journal, he didn't say them out loud, of the 19th century Unitarian minister Theodore Parker, who died in 1860. He was voicing the discontent at religion as usual that fueled the movement that we nowadays call transcendentalism. And that was all about getting out of the building and doing something. And he, yes, was critiquing the idea of duty, duty, work, work. It's so easy to fall into the rut of saying those words, and it's so difficult always to remember to shout joy, joy, and delight, delight. Now, Theodore Parker had some very serious people as his church members, including Louisa May Alcott, the author of Little Women, William Lloyd Garrison, the champion of Frederick Douglass and the leader of the most radical wing of the abolitionists, Julia Ward Howe, who wrote the Battle Hymn of the Republic, and the women's rights leader Elizabeth Cady Stanton. one serious group of people who did know how to work, and they did have their eyes toward duty, but Reverend Parker was there talking to his church members, trying to remember also to say, joy, joy, delight, delight. To get at that, I got a question for you. When are you your best self? Think about it. When are you your best self? Now, I'm not asking when other people think you are your best self, but when you think you are your best self. The American poet William Carlos Williams wrote a poem about those sorts of moments called Danse Russe, and it goes like this. If, when my wife is sleeping and the baby, and the sun is a flame-white disk in silken mists above shining trees, if I, in my north room, dance naked grotesquely before my mirror, waving my shirt round my head and singing softly to myself, I am lonely, lonely, I was born to be lonely, I am best so. Who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household? Joy and delight. When are you your best self? Are you dancing naked in your upstairs room as the sun rises, or when is it? Because no, there's no judgment here. All right. A couple more questions for you to ponder this morning. What does a good day mean to you? What does a good day mean to you? And what do you want to be when you're done growing up and you're ready to just be you for a change? What do you want to do? The world's wisdom says that what you want is right here, right now, always, if you don't get in your own way. You just have to reach out and grab it. Years ago, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote this, quote, all those things that you think will take you forever, you can have them now, if you don't get in your own way. By that, I mean you may, if you can let the past be past and trust that the future will happen and focus on acceptance and justice. Acceptance because you need to be where you are. Justice because you need to speak the naked truth according to the will of nature and the dignity of other people. Do not allow the misbehavior of others to deter you, nor the opinions of others, nor the fashions of the day, nor your own fears. Follow these guidelines and you will be alive now, listening to reason and nature. You will not fear death, but will rather be afraid of never having lived. Then you will be a human being worthy of the universe that produced you. Then you will cease being a stranger to where you are. Then you will cease being surprised by what happens every day. Then you will stop blaming everybody and everybody else. Well, that's the good emperor's formula for happiness. Wise words, all those things that you think will take you forever, you can have them now if you don't get in your own way. Doesn't sound like a good place to be? Yeah, I think so. It's sort of like where William Carlos Williams got to dancing grotesquely naked in his upper bedroom, those exhilarating moments of getting out of your own way. If in my north room I dance grotesquely, naked grotesquely before my mirror, waving my shirt round my head and singing softly to myself, I am lonely, lonely, I am best so. Who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household? Work and duty, yes. Joy and delight, yes. That is our message. You can have your cake and eat it too. You have to remember to keep the recipe. Don't get in your own way, meaning want what you need, not what others say you want. That's the wisdom of the ages. Joy and delight are waiting for you. Okay, but work and duty. Let's think about that a little bit. So let's be real for a moment. I know you've been watching a lot of politics these past months. Most Americans agree with us politically and socially. Poll after poll shows that. Sure, we must keep fighting the fight for social justice, but secular Americans, liberal mainline denominations, and a lot of nonprofits are carrying the banner that we carry. That's not the reason Unitarian Universalist and humanist groups exist. We exist primarily existentially because we offer theological and philosophical hope through the possibility for another way of thinking and another way of living. Free thinking. It's been that way since the 1870s when people began to gather for this congregation. Free thought, free thinking. Yet, you can look this up. Don't, please. Or when you do look it up, don't follow or like them, but look up this little web page online. It's actually fairly large. The Steadfast Baptist Church in Hurst, Texas, which has more subscribers on YouTube and more social media followers than the entire Unitarian Universalist Association and the entire American Humanist Association combined. One congregation smaller than First Unitarian Society in Texas. All right? Well, why? They teach that stoning rebellious children is the right way to deal with your problem children. And yes, indeed, they are being biblical. You can look that up too, Deuteronomy 21, 18 through 21. Drag them in the street and stone them if they are disobedient. Steadfast Baptist Church also sponsors an anti-gay Pride Month. Yes. Now, part of that is their lurid messaging, right? We all want to see a train wreck, and that's definitely a train wreck. The Steadfast Baptist Church, when I took a look at that website anyway, led with the phrase, "How to go to heaven." And who doesn't want to do that? How to go to heaven. Now, this is typical of a certain sort of Christian church. There are some unexamined assumptions embedded in their question. One, that there is an afterlife. Two, that an individual somehow has a consciousness that follows them into some sort of afterlife, and that there is something called heaven, and that the map that Steadfast Baptist Church offers is the map toward that eternal life. A few assumptions there. Admittedly, Steadfast Baptist Church has one advantage over us. They can use the full weight of the Christian tradition that has controlled European minds and the minds of those in their colonies for more than 1,000 years. Everyone who goes to that website, who has a particular set of social locations, will know what heaven means in the way they tell their story. And everyone who goes to that site with set assumptions will believe that they have an eternal soul that will indeed be conscious in and of itself in some sort of afterlife. Also, most visitors to that site will have a pre-existing prejudice toward believing that the scriptures the church refers to are indeed true and correct about heaven. Those are the resources that something like Steadfast Baptist Church has. What about us? I think we have a better message. We've led the way, but as you leave today, notice what the United Methodists are saying across the street. They are celebrating Pride as well. And that wasn't true 10 years ago. We have the better message. It's not likely there's an eternal life out there in which we do possess our present consciousness, which I think was kind of a good thing. It would get really, really boring if you stop to think about it out there. And I think that we are closer with what Emily Dickinson, the poet, said, instead of getting to heaven at last, I'm going all along. I like it that way. We aren't selling surety about things that we're not sure about. There's no snake oil here. But back to Steadfast Baptist Church. Under soul winning, they quote the book of Proverbs from Hebrew Scripture. Quote, "The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise." Well, now that is the King James Version that I grew up with as a Pentecostal kid. But wait a minute. He that winneth souls is wise. That can't actually be correct, because the ancient Hebrews had no concept of winning souls. That just wasn't there. And it wasn't true of American Christians until fairly recently. So I looked up that verse in a newer and more reliable translation, the New Revised Standard Version, and it says this: "The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, but violence takes lives away." Oh, it's a little different, isn't it? Instead of being an encouragement to winning souls, people on the sidewalk, right? Do you know Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior? It's a statement instead of equating righteousness with nonviolence. I think that's a better message. I think we have the better message. We have to ask ourselves, why? Why is their message so popular and ours largely ignored? Why, when most Americans don't believe in stoning their disobedient children or shaming gay people, why aren't more people listening to us? One reason that our message gets ignored is, I think, that it's pure liberal hubris. In our own minds, we long ago won the best sales award in the marketplace of ideas. That's in our own minds. We consider ourselves so patently in the right and the right kind of thinking people that everybody would go our way, wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Well, many Americans don't, and it's the loud Americans who don't. What if we get down off our high horse of liberalism and see ourselves as just another voice crying in the wilderness? How about we look around us and see that we must keep on message? We must keep on message. Yes, our beliefs are in the majority among Americans. Most Americans believe in a multicultural, multi-religious, and accepting America. But it's a vague set of liberal beliefs. Most Americans haven't thought all that much about it. Too many Americans have not committed to examining those values and working for them. Duty, right? Work. And so those who have thought a lot about it, the religious right, the social conservatives, have a message that they believe in so much that they get out there and preach it. We must get our aspirations out there. We must both show and tell what a good and virtuous life is and how it is possible in the here and now, motivated by nothing more than a conviction that doing good is good to do. It's our duty, and it's also a joy. We must communicate our zest for life and living, free thinking, free living, and, as our affiliate humanist clergy Jay Hooper says, free forming. He's going to be talking later this summer about that. Well, okay, do I have visions of grandeur that we might catch up with Steadfast Baptist Church? Well, frankly, I don't think there is any other kind of vision to have than one of grandeur. We are in the game of religion, the business of religion, if you will, and we need to show up. Lives are on the line. Human well-being is on the line in our nation. The future of the whole darn planet is on the line right now. Duty, duty, work, work. But also joy, joy, delight, delight. Because we humanists know that life is an art. Thank you for being here today with your wonderful art, by the way. Life is an art. It's a dance. And that's the message we need to live and to tell. So may it be.
Thank you all for being here. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All of these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
Feels like forever since I've seen your face, not pixelated on a screen, or half covered by some pretty pattern cloth, sewn by hand in a dream, waiting for the all clear to let loose that long-held breath. Oh, life has been whiplash in slow motion these days. Feels like forever since I walked into a room packed full of friends making noise, body against body, sharing the still air. Can't imagine when that's gonna happen again. The blessed oppressiveness of squeezing through a crowd. Oh, life has been distant, shallow breathing these days. I wanna fall right into your arms. Yeah, anyone, everyone's arms. I wanna sway with thousands to the same tried, perfect little pop tune. I wanna sing out feels like forever since I've seen your face.
Yeah, and don't let the haircut fool you. That's Jacob back there, one of our tech geniuses. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's a real honor to be here together. And thanks also for our folks online. And we do intend to continue this dual way of doing things. Our closing words are by Maya Angelou from her poem, Continue. My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue to dare to love deeply and risk everything for the good thing. Continue to float happily in the sea of infinite substance which set aside riches for you before you had a name. Continue, so may it be.